poem which I chose is Search for My Tongue by Sujata Bhatt. So in this poem, the message we see is her struggling with speaking two tongues. And this is because when she was 12, her family moved from her hometown in India to the United States. And in the United States, you speak English, and in her hometown, she speaks Gujarati. Now, since she lived in the US, she speaks a foreign tongue, which she classes as English, and her mother tongue, which is Gujarati. And throughout this poem, she makes many references to not being able to speak her mother tongue enough, and that she's speaking the foreign tongue, English, and that it is taking over, so to say. Well, so the structure of this poem, we see that it's a three-verse poem, which means it has no real structure or rhythm or rhyme scheme. But we do see that it has three stanzas. Well, the first stanza is more of her saying that, like, how would you feel, and like it's more of a conversational poem about having two tongues. The second stanza is in her native language, Gujarati, which unfortunately trying to translate didn't work. And then third stanza is more of a realization that she cannot lose this identity of herself, and that it will always be there even if she doesn't speak it too much. We also see that none of her lines in her poem actually see 10 words. So in this, as I mentioned in the second stanza, she switches from English to Gujarati. So in this poem, she uses metaphors. An example of this would be, she mentions that the mother tongue, the Gujarati, grows back like a flower. Then I've used this in mine, since I have said that your family has hearts of gold, since they are always there for you and can help you. She also uses personification. This is because she says that the tongues tie each other in knots, and of course tongues can't tie knots, which is a human-like quality. And in my poem, I say that English has taken over, and which sort of says that English has sort of conquered it, which languages can't do. She also shows personification. Personification is where you give a non-human-like being human-like qualities. Okay, then so assonance. So in German, you have a lot of E sounds, such as D, Z, and then in English, you have, of course, all the vowels. But then she uses grows longer, grows moist, grows strong veins. This can also be classed as repetition, but I see this as a assonance, since the O, like the grow sound, is repeated 3 times. In my poem, I use Z and D, which is in German. She uses enjambment a lot, because most of her sentences, she actually just runs over into the next line. And I decided to use this as well, since it is a very simple technique to use. You can sort of stop your sentence on one line and sort of continue on the next. Of course, only when it makes sense. How long do I have left?
You're at 3 minutes 50.
Yeah, and then also in this poem, we see a wide range of vocabulary, since she's talking about flowers, and she's also talking about many different human-like qualities. So we see, like, she says that the tongue is growing back like there's a stump, and that she will have to spit out the tongue at some point. But she never, and she thought she would do it as she sleeps, but she never actually does, which means that she has grown to accept her mother tongue, and that she will always have it, and she will never lose it. Well, yeah, so I think I'm going to read my poem now. I don't have a title. You're not alone when you say you have lost your tongue. And what would I do if I depended on 2 tongues? And before you accuse me, you're not alone, since I have struggled with this too. Die deutsche Sprache, jeder, die sie nicht kennt, sieht die Schönheit nicht. Ich spreche es kaum, ich muss es neu lernen. I've lost a part of myself, which I hope I can rediscover. The language I once treasured vanished without a trace. English has taken over and has shown no remorse. What I used to identify as is gone. How will I speak with my family? What will they think of me? Going back to Germany has shown me that the language you speak makes no difference. The people who care about you will fight your battles with you as if they were their own. They all have hearts of gold. And so the journey begins, of which I have dreaded. But I know that in this journey, I will not be alone.